When is XRP going to moon? I get that question every single day. By far the most asked question is XRP going to make me rich, wealthy? And when is it going to happen, Dusty? When will I wake up with XRP at $1,000 and crazy things like that? And people also very often get excited about articles and tweets like this. This guy right here says, boom, XRP glitched suddenly to $7,308 per coin. And well, even though it got a lot of views, I will tell you that this is a screenshot from 2020, when indeed the price did do something crazy on some exchange. But please don't let this distract you from the reality of things. This was not some sort of test, and this does not answer the question of when will XRP finally have that breakout and really go crazy. You'd be surprised the amount of people that have asked me about this glitch, that have sent me this through DMs. I think you guys are going to be really surprised when you really look through what I have to sift through every day of people asking me questions about. Because it's a lot of people that are wondering, is this real? Did this really happen? Is this some sort of test that Ripple is doing or that somebody else is doing? The answer is, well, right now Bitcoin is moving down. Not too much, but it's still moving down nonetheless. And similarly, if you're wondering then when will XRP finally have this crazy movement, the better question to ask yourself is, when will Bitcoin have the major reversal? When will things turn back around for Bitcoin? Because basically only at that point will XRP decide its own fate. So to elaborate upon that, XRP, of course, is standalone from Bitcoin. It's got a different purpose, it's got a different ideology, different community, everything different. But the crypto space is mostly still, the movement of it is decided by how Bitcoin moves. If Bitcoin goes down, most altcoins move down in unison with it. And if Bitcoin goes up, most altcoins move in unison with it too. Right now, since Bitcoin is not breaking these highs, it's not doing too amazing, XRP is following a similar path. I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. The caveat, the key lies in what will happen the moment that Bitcoin does go on an uptick. We personally on this channel believe the moment that Bitcoin does reverse back around and starts to pump again, that XRP, because of its history, and just to elaborate upon that ever so slightly, because of its history, right? What we're seeing here is that XRP basically went from making higher highs every single cycle to making a lower high all of a sudden here in 2021. Now, you guys have to understand that this period right here is the period where Bitcoin hit a new all-time high at 69,000, which was 3 times the price that it saw in 2017, right? So Bitcoin here hit about $19,000, and then in 2021 hit $69,000. XRP here hit about $3. We expected, all right, because like Ethereum, like almost any other coin, XRP would also hit somewhere along the $10 ballpark, right, around that mark, but it didn't, mostly because it got sued by the SEC. Then again, if you really start looking into it, if this pressure would have not been there, we would have basically had a high point in 2017, right, 2018, then a initial low, right? This is our low point. A higher high in 2021, a higher low, as again, the price did not really falter below 30 cents-ish. And then over the next couple of months, a new higher high again above that $10 mark, most likely at whatever Bitcoin is going to go to times a little bit. So let's just call it, if Bitcoin goes to 150,000, so it doubles in price, that XRP would go to about $30 or so, which in this chart looks a little bit odd, I understand. But if XRP indeed already hit like $10 or so in this time period, this $30 mark did not look that crazy. To elaborate upon it here, take a look at Bitcoin. If you look at the pattern, right, it's a high point, a low point, a higher high point, a higher low point, a higher high point, a higher low point, followed by, again, we expect another higher high point at potentially 150K right here, where my mouse is showing at. It's really not that crazy if you take a look at it. And really, realistically speaking, XRP at those prices is quite similar to how Bitcoin performed, and it's just a matter of the lawsuit messing us up. Before I continue on, 2 things. 1, make sure you press that like button. I'm trying to generate an army here of people that really want to learn more about crypto, but most importantly, make a freak ton of freaking cash, right? It's as simple as that. people who are eager to learn more and do exceedingly well the next run. Right now, we're in a little bit of a boring period, so there's not too much crazy alpha I can give, but I'm looking for the people that are willing to learn and willing to take these crazy opportunities when they arise, like a little inner circle of sorts. And I've got a couple of cool ideas to kind of get that started. But one thing I want to do is give away just people in my community some money every single, I guess, month for right now. Maybe we can do it every week later on. So at the end of the month or the beginning of the month, I don't know, I want to basically give some money to my top Discord people, top YouTube people, top Instagram people, top Twitter people, etc. Just people that are always on top of their game, because I personally think, even though I don't think incentivizing people to, engage is the best incentive for the actual personal progress, I do believe the people that are trying the hardest to actually get to where they want to be deserve the most as well. And so I should kind of be supporting that, I think. But yeah, the exact details of it, I'm still figuring out. But I just want you guys to understand that if you really are paying close attention, the amount of opportunities that are out there in the crypto space is just insane. And one of the things you can kind of get into it with is by just joining the Discord, being around crypto people all the time. And so I'll leave a link for that down below. Just join it and check it out. But also know that the most active people will be rewarded in due course, as I'm thinking of a couple of cool ways to support the people that are also, doing the most. Anyway, I've got a couple of cool little pointers, and at first I had a really proper story, but I just want to give you guys the rundown without too much BS. Robert Kiyosaki advises buying Bitcoin today, foresees a rush to buy Bitcoin as stocks, bonds, and real estate crash. All you've got to understand about this right here is that inherently nothing is completely safe. I mean, you might think your stocks are safe, or crypto is safe, or your house is safe, but really, here's one of the best investors in the world. Well, that's a stretch, but a pretty good investor from Shark Tank, Kevin O'Leary, saying, if there's ever a place that I'm not going to get in trouble, it's going to be at FTX. And look what happened quickly afterwards. Even he did not know. And Robert's got a good point. The whole most important part to understand about investing is that diversification is key. If you're fully invested into one thing, you might want to switch that around if you just think about how things are not safe. I mean, cash can always be taken away from you, right? War comes, boom, your cash is now worthless, because why would they want that? Or they decide to go and seize your property. It can always happen. Same thing for your actual home or gold. They can seize it because it's physical. So then what? Well, crypto could inherently just fail because it's a flawed concept. For example, one hacker comes around, boom, it's done. Internet goes off, boom, you've got nothing now anymore. Stocks, bonds, yeah, it's cool and all, but again, since you've got to register it somewhere, they can just write this off from you. Same thing like money in a bank account. They can always write this away from you again. Those are my thoughts though, right, on this matter. That every single thing you can have has its downside, but to minimize that downside, you spread the risk. Again, because if the internet only goes out and a lot of these online things don't work anymore and don't have give you any value anymore, you've at least got your property, and potentially you've got things in there that could then help you survive or whatever. Again, on this middle part with stocks and bonds, if all the stocks actually go down because some garbage happens, at least you've got bonds. If your bonds become worthless because of some crazy stuff, at least you've got stock in some companies that will maybe make it out and actually outgain all the loss in your bonds. And if stocks and bonds do really garbage, perhaps it's crypto that takes over, and so forward and so on. Talking about that though, the reason I'm also getting into crypto is because I know the institutions are so heavily trying to get into it. Coinbase right now, they don't own all this, but they control and hold about 5% of all the Bitcoin in existence. How does that work? Well, we've got Coinbase custody, and the guys have got a lot of institutional partnerships, making them hold $25 billion worth of Bitcoin, which is wild. They apparently own about $200 million worth of it, but that is pretty damn wild if you start thinking about it. There's something else that I think was quite interesting, especially for XRP holders. Japan University researchers find correlation between XRP price and transaction network structure. A recent study out of Kyoto University examines XRP's price during and after the 2018 bubble and correlations. Most interesting piece, 2021 is the latest data, and they identify a set of driver nodes during the bubble supported by Ripple Impact Fund. And apparently here it says when lots of people were using XRP for transactions, its price tended to drop. It's a bit like when everyone wants the same toy, the price goes up, but when they start selling it, the price comes back down. Pretty logical, right? But there's the cool part. They found special group of users in the XP network. They were, the users were like the VIPs of XRP, super active, and they had big say in how XRP's price moved during these exciting times. Think of them as maestros directing the XRP show during its most thrilling moments. And their connection is that XRP's price can be influenced by how many people are using it for transactions. But the problem with this is it's hard to see how relevant their study is, as often it's, well, if the network is more active, yeah, price goes up because people are trying to basically transact with it, use it, have it, and vice versa by that logic as well. If network activity drops, or just activity as a concept drops in the crypto space, yeah, most likely it's either because things are quieting down, meaning, you know, the market is kind of falling off, or people are starting to use it less for some strange reason. For example, the testing phase is over, yada, 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 and now the price drops. We don't know where the causation there lies. And to me, this study doesn't mean too much per se, because I think we know the two most important pieces. One, if Bitcoin goes back up, like I said at the start of the video, things will most likely look pretty amazing for XRP and coins akin. And two, if all these partners, all these banks, etc., start utilizing XRP, the demand logically goes up. If everybody starts using it, people want it. It's just the way it usually goes. And so I'd say let us just move on. Polkadot is eyeing support for 1,000 parachains in the future. It's just a quick little update that Polkadot is doing their best. The developers are planning to introduce an update that will help expand the number of ecosystem parachains to over 1,000. The announcement was made at the Sub-Zero Developer Conference in Lisbon. I didn't go. Right now, the limit is about 100, and they want to basically 10x that to 1,000 with some new upgrades. And exactly how that works, you don't need to know. Just the idea is pretty cool that Polkadot could basically get 10 times as huge not too long from now. And to relate back to our question at the start, when will XRP finally break out? The moment that Bitcoin does. And when will that happen? Well, we are expecting it to happen in about a year from now, but that depends on your perspective. I think the bottom for Bitcoin is already in, right? I've drawn lines in here more often than not, but you can see the cycle in here basically. But the idea is as follows. Every single time we get towards this line, we bounce up pretty massively, right? Right now, we're pretty close to the line yet again. There's actually a couple different lines we can draw. But this one holds back all the way since 2013. Every single time we get close to it, we have a massive bounce upwards. And every single time the Bitcoin halving cycle comes, about a third into it or so, we see a new all-time high, which again, most likely is somewhere within 2025. But I do not believe that Bitcoin ever, after hitting a major dip like this, reaches a new low point. But again, that's relative. Again, could a $15,000 Bitcoin or so happen? Well, looking at the past, here we hit an all-time high at about $1,200, fell back to 167, came up to 320, so doubled, and then came back down for a bit to 158 before moving up like crazy. In theory, that could happen here again. We went to 69,000, went to about 14,500, going to 35,000 or so, and then to 14,000 before breaking upwards. Could, but I don't see things really looking too much worse than that. And the moment that Bitcoin goes on that upwards grind, XRP will see similar sorts of results. And you've got to understand, XRP, even right now, is not actually in a bad position. I mean, if you really start taking a good look, the price over the last couple of years has been doing exceedingly well. It's just this period here where the lawsuit came in that we didn't see a massive peak that makes this chart look a little bit more bad. But I do believe that once, or I should say now that this lawsuit is finished, that XRP is just going to basically pick up the pace like it did before when it was basically just going in a pretty logical correlation with Bitcoin. And again, ever since 2020, XRP's trajectory has just been up and up and up, with a less high peak than Bitcoin did relatively, but the direction is still up and up and up. And I don't think that that's ever going to turn back around. So again, when will we finally break out? From a certain perspective, we've never really stopped. The SEC just kind of made us suppressed for a bit, but very, very good things, in my opinion, are on the horizon.